Welcome to Moss Marketing Mondays, a.k.a. the M3 Podcast. Brought to you by Moss Marketing Group, bringing you everything marketing every Monday. Stay tuned for marketing tips and tricks you can use today. The M3 Podcast, marketing knowledge to help you succeed. Let's get started.
Welcome back to the M3 Podcast. This week we got a bunch of surprises here. Dre, as normal, we have Cody on, part of the MMG crew.
He made it.
And we have Jaime Tuff here with TDR Auto Plaza.
Hello,
Welcome.
boys. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us this week.
Awesome.
Cody, introduction real fast.
I worked at TDR for, 8 years? 7 years?
At least.
And then I've been with you about 6 months now.
I would say we were friends way before the TDR scene, though, too.
It's been, about 14 years or so? Something like that?
I deserve a trophy for putting up with you for 14 years.
I am your trophy, bud. I am your trophy.
Oh.
Right here.
And we've been friends with Jamie since
10 years.
Yeah, 10 years at least.
Yep.
What, 2011? Something like that?
Yeah.
Just a few.
So
It's crazy.
Crazy. And then now we've all ended up on the M3 Podcast together.
Yeah, that's nuts.
A lot of years of
reunion
hanging
tour.
out. What?
Reunion tour.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what we can call
it.
Here's to the reunion tour.
Yeah.
So, Jamie, you live in Kearney now.
Yes.
How long have you lived in Kearney?
9 years.
9 years.
Yeah, 9 years.
So, we met through TDR.
Correct.
Long time ago. What is the Jaime Tuff story that led up to TDR? I'm going to go pre-TDR.
Pre-TDR. Man.
I know most people.
He had a
probably
life
don't know
before
about
that.
I think that's etched
I
in the
know, I had
stone
friends.
somewhere.
No, not that you guys aren't my buddies, but yeah. Where do you want to start?
I know where you're from and everything. Where did you grow up before you even came to Missouri?
Before Missouri was Minnesota. And then back and forth, right? So I came down here, went to Winnetonka till my freshman year, left after my freshman year, went back to Minnesota, finished high school, graduated college there, decided to move back to Kansas City, and so I've been back this time since 2004.
Nice.
Yeah.
You came for our awesome fucking weather, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's better than
Probably,
Minnesota.
probably better than Minnesota.
At least up there, if it's cold,
It's cold.
really
you have
cold.
snow,
Yeah.
and you could do something. It's just cold here, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So when you first came to Kansas City in 2004,
Yeah.
what did you start off doing?
Right, so I was just finishing college, and I decided to be an insurance adjuster. That was different. It was kind of cool. So I would start off in the property damage side of it, where you get a hailstorm. I was the guy that came out and looked at your roof, wrote you a check, and it was fun, right? Writing everyone checks, giving them money. They loved it, right?
I'm the money man.
And then I guess I did too good at the job. So they moved me inside and started negotiating claims, people getting hurt and stuff like that. Horrible. Hated it.
Not so much fun.
No.
They weren't as excited to talk to you at that point.
Nope, they're not. No, sir, I apologize. You're about 30% at fault. We're going to give you less money. Okay, great. So did that for probably 4 or 5 years. Had a cleaning company on this also, because did what we're all taught: go to college, get a job. Okay money.
Yeah.
And that's just how it's going to be. Got my insurance, everything's good, right? Put your 8 to 5 in and do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. This is life you're supposed to live. This is
What we're all taught.
This is the poster of what it's supposed to look like.
Exactly. And did that and finally had enough. And then I had a buddy of mine that begged me to get into sales. He's like, man, you got to come into sales. You got to come into sales. So finally, after 5 years of hell, pretty much sitting at a desk and talking to doctors and lawyers and, accidents, doing all this stuff, I started doing the fundraiser gig with them and did sales. And it was awesome, right? So played college football, and my job was to go talk to high school football coaches. probably the coolest thing
Pretty fun
coolest
gig.
job I ever had in my life. And loved it. But to max out your income, it's just not really what I was trying to get to.
Yeah.
Right? Fun job, loved every bit of it, but just wasn't. I was ready for the next level.
Yep. Always pushing for that next level.
Exactly, right? So another friend of mine had a roofing company, and I had been in sales, knew I was an insurance adjuster, so I was on the other side of the roof writing the checks, and he had me, asked if I'd come help him with a storm that was at that time was in Topeka, and I was living in Kansas City, and they were from Minnesota also. And so I went and did that, and that was cool. I loved it. Would have done that forever. Not a great job if you have a family, though.
Yeah.
Right? So I was home 1 weekend a month.
Jeez.
One weekend?
1 weekend a
And
month.
at this point, did you just have Juliana?
Juliana was. So when I started, I didn't have Juliana.
Gotcha.
Right? And so then Juliana came.
Yeah.
And on the road, like I said, 1 weekend a month I'd come home. So the 28 other days I was on the road. And it was good. Traveled the whole United States chasing storms. Within, I think, the first 2 weeks, I was their sales manager and then became the general manager of that place and ran everything. But yeah, like I said, I come home on that weekend, my daughter's 1, and she doesn't know who I am. That gets kind of hard.
Makes it a little rough.
Yeah, right? So I knew it was time to make a transition.
Yeah.
So,
Kind of nice being close to home now.
oh yeah, it's real nice.
By really close, like 1 mile away.
Right. Yeah, I mean, well, my first house in Kearney, I could see the dealership from my back porch. It was nice.
We were actually talking about that today. I was talking with Gentry about it today when I stopped in. I was seeing him.
Yeah.
And he was talking about like talking to people on getting jobs and things like that. And I think we were talking about the biggest misconception in today's world about speaking with people about jobs is people go straight after everyone with money.
Right.
That you could offer me a job making so much money and I'd be gone all year long, and I would say no to it no matter what that
It's not
dollars
worth
and
it.
cents is.
Sure.
And we were talking about how everyone opens up the conversation with that.
Right.
And I'm like, what can you do to make that person's life better?
Right.
If you can make that person's life better at home, if you can give that person more time, whatever it is, the dollars and cents, they will make sense of, like they will make it work no matter what.
Well, everybody's got a different hot button. Some people it's money. Some people will drown themselves in money and that makes them happen. Some
Right.
people it's time. Some people it's just freedom, like at the job, like creativity, that kind of stuff. So
And
That's definitely a change that
Yes.
has, and recently it was a big change. Pretty much, I'm not going to try to date my age here, but your guys' era changed a lot of that. Where my era was mostly focused with money, right?
I think though that there's been this shift in the market though, that there's jobs that offer money that don't offer this, that don't require the same amount of hours.
Right.
There's a whole new like era of money that's able to be made.
Correct.
And when I left the dealership, I had another dealership offer me a lot of money to go there. They're like, you're going to work 7 days a week in 2 different states.
Right.
And I'm like, piss off.
Yeah.
I'm
Those,
like-
those states weren't really
like-
side by side.
I was like, very grateful for the opportunity and everything, but there was no amount of money somebody could have put
Right.
on me working 7 days a week.
I mean, I could do it for like maybe 6 months, but then you're gonna get burnt out fast. Like
But-
that's gonna.
but
I
think
think it
about
was 2
putting
months,
that-
if I remember.
Yeah, whatever.
It was 2 months. It was 6 days.
I'm
But
pretty
yeah,
sure it was like
I totally understand what you're
6
saying.
years. And I'm pretty sure you even made me work on a Sunday or two every now and then.
You can't blame me on that.
But think about if you really sat there, say it's 6 months, say it's 2 years, say it's 3 years, whatever that time is that you put on it.
Right.
Say the 6 months is what you say it's going to burn you out. 6 months, something happens, you're laying on your deathbed and your family's coming to see you.
I'd be irate.
But think about how pissed you'd be at yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that is finally when I had to take a step back and look at myself
Right.
about, can I look at myself over the last 12 months, year over year, and always be grateful for and know that I lived the last 12 months to the top that I could, balancing work and my personal life, my life with my family,
Right.
with everything else the way it should properly be done. And there's no right answer to that.
Sure, right. There's no proper way it should be done.
Just in your head. There's a proper way in your head.
How you feel is proper.
Yeah, and if you can justify that in your head, 100%, whatever it is, go for it.
Right.
If you can justify 7 days a week, 12-hour days, awesome. Right. I couldn't.
Yeah.
Like, it came to a point where it's like, yeah, money was great, things like that, but it was like when I stepped away, I had luxuries of coming and going and things like that, but it was also
taking those
like,
week-long vacations, doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but there just comes to a point where it was like I had to do something different.
Right.
I had to push that next level. It's always chasing that next level, and it's like something inside of a person gives them that like I have to drive.
Yeah.
Where it is, I don't know.
Yeah, it's the hardest thing I deal with on a daily basis. What is your drive? What makes you you? What motivates you? That's the hardest thing right now to figure out because everyone's so different.
Oh, 100%.
And like we just said, it's not money motivated anymore. That is not. I would say at least 90% of the time is not money motivated anymore.
No, I remember we did that outside TDR one time. You brought the whole sales crew out and you said, okay, we've got a week till the end of the month. I want everybody to do 5 cars, whatever it was. What do you want as your reward if you can do it? And you asked everybody individually. And I remember one person was like shoes. One person wanted a watch. One person just something small. But some people it's tangible items. Some people it's, time. Hey, can I have 3 days off? Whatever it may be. So
I think
will you take me out to the bar and have a good night? Like everybody's got a different something that makes them click and work harder.
I think a lot of management though doesn't understand that.
No.
100%.
So that's what no matter
the
industry, there's individuals out there that are still pushing that money driven basis, which it works for a lot of people. But
I would say that percentage has gotten smaller.
Yes.
But I will say that I think from that management side of a lot of what I watch from the outside in, and I mean we work with a very, very large amount of dealerships, stuff like that.
Right.
What they put out there is unrealistic. They put a lot of unrealistic expectations out there. Sure. And I remember, like, when you say watch, like, today we were literally just talking about somebody that we all worked with sitting on this couch. And his most successful month ever was when he had a watch up for grab. And it was like his second month there.
Yeah, I remember.
And I bought this gold watch.
Invicta watch, if I remember right.
I bought a gold Invicta watch, and I said there, and he's like, what is that? I was like,
I gotta have it.
I know. I was like, if you sell 20 cars this month, this is yours.
Yeah.
And I think he sold like 16 or 18, but he worked his ass off.
Yeah, he did.
More than any person at that dealership.
Right.
Jamie and I would show up in the morning, he was there too. I'm like,
yeah, that doesn't happen.
Yeah. It's like, he was striving for so much.
Yeah.
And it was like a $300 watch maybe.
It wasn't a big deal.
But it was just like,
it was cool.
It was
a real cool
to
watch.
him, though.
But it was tangible. He could see it, and he could look at it every day, and I think that's what
that's something he's never had and he's always wanted. And I remember I was sitting there, and he's making all of his phone calls. He's doing everything he's supposed to do, and I'm like, what?
Is he sick?
I didn't know that was up for grabs at that point. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, what? Yeah. What lit a fire under him? And I went and talked to either you or Dane, and they're like, he's going for this watch. I'm like, oh, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, I don't know what happened in the last like 48 hours, but something's completely different.
It's crazy. It's just like you said, what he pushed and what he did to get that watch. Probably could have bought 10 of them.
Oh, 100%.
Easily. But if that's what it takes, that's what it takes, right? And you just got to find that thing they're looking for. You know, what is that thing that drives you? What is the thing you want out of life, out of everything, right? What pushes you to get up every morning and come into work and
Some
talk
people
about
don't
the
see
7
that
days a
big
week
picture.
and we don't want to do it, but what pushes us to go 5 for sure, if not 6, 12-hour days, bell to bell as we call it.
Yeah.
Well, there's something in your mind that'll get you to 7 days a week.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what, depending on what that thing is, and for Dane, it was the marketing company. He's like, I will do 7 days a week for this.
Yeah.
And that's what, in his mind, that's what that is. For him, it was that watch.
Right.
And I know he was working on his time off. And that's what I was like, we could have.
Especially in the businesses that we are in.
Yeah.
You have
There's not
to.
really time off, though, if you think about it, right? Because we're always seeing people. We're always talking to people.
That goes into
It's part of our business.
I was texting a guy Sunday at 7 in the morning. He's texting me. I'm like, yeah. Well, I'm like, how can I help you? He's like, oh, you text me back? I'm like, what do you need? I'm like, I'm right here. I'm a text away.
any customer service. I tell anyone out there that gets into a customer service based business is it's 7 days a week. Like if you have a cell phone, it becomes 7 days a week. I mean, if you're selling real estate,
who don't have their cell phone right now, right?
Yeah.
So the days of 8 to 5, and you get my voicemail if I'm not available. Those are over.
Those are the people that fail, though.
Right.
Those are the people that like. I only work 8 to 5.
Yeah.
Don't call me outside there.
Let's put it this way. I've been gone from TDR, 6 months now, roughly? Something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
Last week, I got 2 texts, a phone call, and ran into a customer all asking if I still work there, hitting me up for cars. Hey, what do you have available? And it just doesn't stop. And I still answer to this day. Even though not being there, I still get them your number, get them referred over. So, I mean, it never quits. It never does.
It never will quit. Once
it's a 24/7 job.
I mean, think about all the like really good friends we have that we met on the lot.
I tell
That's
people
a lot of.
Probably every
I
one
think
of them.
if people-
it's crazy.
I think if people watch back through all the podcasts, that my biggest thing is like I hate calling any company we work with or person we work with a client or customer or something like that. They've all became friends of ours.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing when we were selling cars that those people were friends of ours.
Right.
And it became that like they stopped in there all the time just bullshit with us.
Yeah.
Sit in our offices, things
look
like
at
that.
Mark. I mean,
Yeah. And it's like
I met him on a lot.
Yeah.
Looking at that car
Probably one of
10
your
years
best friends
ago,
today.
and now is
Now it's
I
like
call
we-
him one of our best friends. You know?
Every
It's-
one of us has Mark's number. Like we call Mark anytime. It's like, and there's groves of those people.
Exactly.
But it's, you have these friends that you could also like, they trusted you in that purchase, but it also in the customer or the service base, whatever it is, when you get that trust in them, they will always use you. They become the most loyal people. And I remember when you were selling cars, and I was coming back from college and we were selling together.
Yeah.
And it would be at the end of the month, and Jamie's like, I got to hit like 25.
Yeah.
And he's like, the last day of the month, he's like, I need 4 more. He's calling Mark.
Yeah.
He's
everybody.
calling
Cole.
Cole,
Mike,
like
all
Brian,
of
all these guys, and they're just like, bam, bam, bam. And all
And it
these
works every time.
All of a
Every
sudden,
time.
there's like 8 people up at the dealership, and I'm like, it's just crazy what that, I don't know, that customer experience.
Well, it's just like from TDR, Chip that we signed up. I mean, I met him there. Honestly, vaguely remembered him because I met so many people. And
we
he
know
walked
him
up-
from Turkeys Unlimited.
Yeah, he saw me.
Chip.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we're doing like
Chip
houses
Lennon.
with
Dude,
him.
he
and
saw
stuff.
me at the lake. He goes, Cody, how you doing? You still at TDR? I'm like, I'm with MMG. He's like, I thought about signing up with them. I'm like, you should. What was that? 4 days later, he
Yeah,
was
he
signed
calls.
up with us.
And then he
Chip's
calls
good
me
dude.
like last week, and he's doing like all these auction houses and everything, and he's just killing the market with it.
Yeah.
And he calls me. He's like, "Hey man," he's like, "I just haven't went after like the social media marketing yet. I want to try it." And runs the first one. He calls me. He's like, "Got it sold, over ask, everything." He's like, "Got 3 more of them lined up for next month." He's like, "I want content on them." It's just like on cloud 9, but it's
all because of that relationship we built in the past.
Yeah,
at
and
a
it's-
completely different job.
it's also like I'm friends with Chip, and I've known Chip for a while.
Right.
And it's when we pushed that, we sat down, went over a whole pricing structure that his ad spend was a certain amount. We spent way more in it. I'm like, no matter what, we are selling this house.
We're going to make it work.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I lose
'Cause you do
money,
that
we're
for your
selling
friends.
this house.
Yeah, you do it for your friends. Right.
But it also makes it to where that now also we have 3 more of them. And it's like, but you have to think that next step.
You got to build that foundation.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't think about that foundation building with people.
I was going to say, which is huge, right? In sales, I've seen it so many times. You know, I know guys that have been in sales for a long, long time, and they're always jumping, right? They're always going to they think the
Worst
grass is
thing you can
greener,
do.
right?
Worst
And
thing
they're
you can
always
do.
they're always jumping around, but they don't have repeat. They don't have referral. They don't have any of this business because they can't. They're not building relationships for one. They're just bam, bam. Let's get that sale. We're not talking about, like one of my biggest things when I was selling cars is I'm not trying to sell you this car. I really don't even care if you buy it or not.
Yep.
But if you do buy it, you're buying all your cars from me.
Yeah.
And your family's buying their cars from me. Your friends are buying their cars from me because one car deal isn't going to change anything for me.
I'm pretty sure they write books about like referrals and shit. Like living
There
off
might
of
be
that.
one or two.
I feel like there's a few about it.
Never heard of one.
But it's so many salespeople. I feel like the biggest failure in sales, I would say most every great salesperson would agree with this, is their after sale
Yeah.
follow up.
Yeah.
And
I was terrible at it. I'll be the first to admit, and that was probably my biggest downfall. People love me, but my follow up was terrible.
afterwards, it's like the week. I normally text people like 3 days after.
Sure.
And then I call them like a week after.
Right.
Just to follow up. And guess what? Once in a blue moon, that phone call wasn't a good phone call.
Yeah. But at least you got it done.
Exactly.
Right? And you found out, there is a problem.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm here for,
Yeah.
man.
Hey, I'm here to help you out.
I want to be your car guy.
Come in.
I wanna
Like,
be your
Better
guy.
to be on top of it than be behind.
I understand that your battery was shot on Saturday or whatever. Come in. We'll write you a check back for your battery and everything. They're like, what?
Yeah.
I thought,
Taking
like,
care.
as is, like, I just owned it. Like, I'm like, well,
I mean, essentially, yes, you do.
realistically, you do. But it's like,
But again, we're not trying to sell you a car. We're trying to sell you a lifetime of cars.
and you could buy somebody a battery,
Yeah,
and then they buy every car the rest of their life from you.
exactly.
And it's like small things like that I think a lot of people, I don't know, really don't pay attention to, and they don't think it's that important.
Well, they
Some of those-
stop the sale the second they leave.
Yeah, they're done.
The sale
Yeah, I made
never
my money. I'm
stops.
good.
Yeah.
Well, that's what the sale never stops.
But you know what you end up doing the rest, and you hate sales because you hustle the rest of your life. It's very hard, especially in the beginning of sales, and that's where you lose. Some guys that can be really good at it, is the grind is hard.
Yeah.
It is.
Super hard grind, and the phone calls, the lot ups, the everything you got to do to become successful. But if you put the time in, and like you guys were talking about, the foundation, right? So you build that core group of people. So down the road, you don't have to make 100 phone calls a day. You don't have to take 100 lot ups. It's
Jamie, you could never leave your chair, never pick up phone,
I'm still
never
the number one
move
sales
from,
guy at TDR.
never move from your
Man, I
office.
sold cars in what now, 6 years?
And you have what, 6 people walking a day asking for you?
But
I mean, it never.
I really
stops.
don't even think like getting into sales. I never really saw it as like a huge grind. I
Right.
thoroughly enjoyed it.
it's what they call a grind, but we
What-
like it, right? Because we
but
want to meet new people. We
It was
wanna-
like, if someone truly enjoys taking care of others, my main thing was like, and I do the same thing with what we do here, which is what has made a wave in the marketing industry, is we actually care about taking care of the people we work with.
Right.
If you just do that one thing in any business model that you're in, if you care about the person that you're taking care of or the business that you're working with or whatever, just take care of that person, business, it all works out
yeah,
very easily.
I think a big part of that, and I've worked for both of you for a good amount of time, is taking care of the people that work for you. I mean, if I needed the shirt off Jamie's back, he would give it to me in a
It'd
heartbeat.
be a little big.
And vice versa. For you. Well, I might need a
Mine
bed
would
sheet.
also
yeah.
be a little big.
Yeah. I might be able to wear it for a couple days, cut it in half or something. But I mean, what I'm saying is you guys always took care of everybody, whether it was a financial problem, just a home problem, they needed advice, anything. You guys were always there, and that's how you build a good group and have a good successful business.
supposed to be how you keep people
100%,
around, right?
yeah.
And you got to care, right? So, I mean, we're together more than we are with our own families.
Yeah.
In this
Tenfold.
business.
Tenfold.
Even that it's definitely changed since the beginning times of TDR,
Yeah.
where it was 6. You know,
I
come in at
was
8,
up there Sunday, every Sunday
right?
cleaning the place.
Right? 8, come in at 8, leave at 8 if you were lucky. You
The
know?
janitorial crew was not fun. That was definitely not the highlight.
Hey, that was something where
you guys
someone,
did this.
when I was doing finance, someone would come in dirty shoes. They're like, "Well, it's fine." I'm like, "No." I'm like, "I clean the
not-
floors."
it's
They're
not fun.
like,
Could you-
"They're like, you do finance and
Well,
clean
where'd
the
you get all
floors."
that
I'm like,
mud?
"Yes."
Where did you find all that mud? You not see how clean this floor is?
What's your car look like? Because I feel like it's really dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Gosh. Yeah.
there's something to that business and everything, but it's also we were talking with this talking about with Dirk Hamilton about how there's just like a bad rap on so much of the car business that I feel like it's so misinterpreted.
Right.
With, I will say there's a lot of bad eggs in the basket,
Sure.
100%.
which it ruins it for the good eggs in the
Right.
basket.
I have seen a few of the bad eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some of them that are pretty
You're
bad.
one of those
but
eggs.
then the good ones can be really good,
Right.
and it's
And that's kind of our job, right? Is it's kind of weird. Like, so I've told you, I was an insurance adjuster, like top 5 hated people. Was a storm chaser, for lack of better terms. What top 5 hated people, right?
Yeah.
And I'm a used car guy.
You're top 2.
Top 5. Right? It's like, I don't know why I'm drawn to it, but I've always succeeded at it is because
You're good at turning that stigma around. You're good at turning that stigma around. Somebody comes in with a negative attitude. Dude, I used to love seeing a mad customer at my desk, somebody else's desk, and you'd be like, what's the problem, dude? They are irate. They are pissed off. You would come out there, talk to them for 5 minutes. You guys would be laughing, shaking hands, and you'd have a date to go have drinks with him and his wife. Or
I mean,
5 minutes later, and you were just always killed it.
So here's it's kind of funny today. Where I was eating lunch with some guys, and we were talking. Tyler is like my lot manager now, right, and does all this stuff for me. And he was like, we were talking about how I almost didn't hire him because the interview process wasn't the greatest interview process. Luckily, he knew Cody, and I'm like, okay, I'll give him a shot, right?
Previous customer, actually.
Previous customer, right? See,
Previous
how
friend.
the world all comes
yeah,
around.
all comes around. And
The
it was
customer,
kind of funny
then
because we're
friend.
talking
Yep.
like, and he's like, best decision I ever made. I said, maybe not. I'll definitely give you top 100. And he's like, they're kind of like this. I'm like, yeah, we make 100 decisions a day, right?
Oh, yeah.
Easily 100 decisions a day. Like you're talking about upset cut. It's just a decision.
Mm-hmm.
We make them. It's either right, wrong, or indifferent. You still got to make a
gotta
decision.
pull
You
that
can't just sit
trigger
there
at
and
some
look at
point.
each
Yep.
other until they get up and leave. So you just got to make a decision. You hope that most of your decisions are good decisions,
Yeah.
and not bad ones, right?
Which I think a lot of people stew so much on the wrong decisions
yeah,
that you have all these decisions every day.
It clouds all your
When,
good ones.
when you get up in the morning, do you make your bed or not? That's decision. Like
Yeah.
right out of the gate, you're making a decision. You're going in.
I'm being 100% honest. When I get up in the morning, I don't think about making my bed.
I was gonna
Dude,
say,
I've done
I
it
don't
for
know.
a
I
week
think my wife
straight.
does, but I don't.
I
I've
don't know.
done it
I've been
for a
getting up
week
and
straight
making
for
the
the
bed.
first time in my life. It's been the greatest week ever. This has been the first week that I've made my bed every morning.
It makes
ever.
a difference, but there's like these habits that you put into place. So it's like, get up, make your bed. Like that's a decision. Like
You know why there's a reason behind that, right?
if you make the right decision, like the first like
Right.
5 to 10. So
Well, it's we're all like task oriented people,
Mm-hmm.
and we want to get tasks done, right? So if you start, you wake up,
checking off
you
that
do
box.
that, make the bed, you finished your first task,
Yep.
right? So now let's go because
It-
we already
it's
did one
weird.
task. And it's already
Mine's mainly so when my girlfriend gets home, she's happier, and I come home to a happy girlfriend. But
At the
yeah,
end
I
of
mean,
the day,
it's
that's most of the
motivation either
reasons we
way.
make decisions.
It's one
But
of
that's a
those things.
decision. That's a decision.
decision not to have a
You
bad night.
decided to have a happy girlfriend that day.
That's damn straight.
But if you think about like Steve Jobs and a lot of these high up people, they went to wearing the same shirts every day and the same pants every day to eliminate that decision.
right.
I've eliminated down like hygiene products. I used to buy like all this different stuff.
He doesn't
and it
even
was like,
brush his teeth anymore. It's weird.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, but it's like I brush my teeth like 2-3 times a day. Fuck you, Cody. No, but it's like when I get up, I used to always like try different like shampoos, stuff
Right.
like that. Weird,
No.
stupid thing to mess with. Now it's like I have one thing. It's on subscription, comes every single month.
Right.
I put my like deodorant on subscription every month. All that stuff. It is a decision that I eliminated ever having to mess with again.
Yeah, you don't have to think about it.
And it's like I have eliminated down these decisions, but it's when you mark off those tasks in the morning. I'll be down here. I'll be sitting in the office by 7,
Yeah,
and I'm like writing out every single task I have to do during the day, and I try to see how many I can get done before someone shows up. Yeah. And it's like
I'm gonna
how
start
much
showing
of
up
this-
early just to ruin your freaking your
But it's like
list.
how many tasks can you get done before someone shows up in the morning? It's becoming like a game for me in my head.
I
And-
mean, again, we're all like I said, we're all task oriented, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, as a kid, you have your chore list. You do, you know, just it's just how we've been
Probably where
raised
it
and how we're
starts.
inbred, and so
Some kids have that now.
Yeah.
true.
It's getting more scarce.
Yeah, yeah, very much. You know, so it's just easier for you to start task, end task, and move on. Right? You made your decision. Steve Jobs. You know, kind of like we actually were talking about this at the gym. I think a couple of months ago or something,
Yeah.
like 2 months ago. It was like, and you said, you know, you were talking about, oh, found a pair of shorts I like. Same thing. So I found a pair. I like them. They're comfortable.
Order 15 pairs.
I got them.
I'm like,
not,
every
I don't
color?
ever have to think about them again. If I wear a different color top, I get a different color bottom, but that's it. They're
Yeah.
the same short. Don't have to worry about going to find them. I just bought them all.
If I
I
go
know
in my
they
closet,
fit.
I have like 8 colors of one. I have like literally just a set of like different colors of each one of them.
Right.
And it's something that like short wise, I just have to make sure When I grab a pair of shorts, it doesn't match my shirt. Like, don't wear the same
What was your
color.
favorite thing back in the day?
The
Gray
grout
on
fits.
gray?
Dude, I stroked
The
out.
grout fit.
Dude, I stroked out this morning. I could not find a clean pair of jeans. Courtney's like,
grout
where are
fit's
your
coming
shorts?
back.
And so I'm like, I grabbed a gray pair of shorts. Only MMG shirt I had was gray. And I like looked at it and I said, grout fit, and threw it to the side. She was like, are you okay this morning? I'm like, I'm not.
I made the wrong
I
decision.
did not make the right decision by ordering 15
Yeah,
shirts.
if you rocked in with a grout fit, I would ride you like Seabiscuit
I was this
all
close
day.
to wearing a grout fit today, and I was like, nah, not having
Dane
that
will
kind of
ride
day.
me like Seabiscuit.
I know
Not
you
let
would.
me ever live this one down.
Yeah.
But the task, like, it's so weird how, like, something that in like, personal life carries over that we did the same thing at the dealership with salespeople of, like, lining them out with a set amount of tasks and working them over and over and over every single day. And if you saw the people that did that stuff and followed it out, nice, Dre. Nice. Got a phone
hey,
call.
speaking of
Quality, bud.
Yeah.
Can we get a bathroom break? I'm doing it.
Can, yeah.
Just so
Yeah.
you know.
You can run.
We're back from our piss break. Back on tasks. I messed that whole thing up. That was on
all
me.
right.
We're on tasks.
All right.
Tasks. Where were we at on tasks? Dre.
We're task-oriented people, remember?
Yep.
Yeah.
You were talking about making your bed for about 20 minutes.
At least.
I mean, the whole podcast has been pretty much about me making my bed.
He's got a pretty big size bed.
yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
It's a big
So,
task.
tasks.
Big task.
Big man, big bed, you know?
How important do you think it is on outlining your day? Each and every day.
Yeah, for real. It's like, if you don't have a plan, what are you doing, right? I mean, if you're just showing up and hoping for the best, I mean, you
that
could do
scales-
awesome, right? But you're probably not going to do very well at all, because if you don't have a plan, then you're not going to. Nothing's
pissing
ever
in the
going to
wind.
pan out for you.
I think that goes through everything in the fact that anyone that starts a business has a business plan.
Right.
Same thing when I opened up a marketing company, I had an outline of everything that was going to happen. Now, granted, has that whole thing like went way faster than I anticipated?
right.
Yes.
You got to redo the plan.
The plan gets redone all the time.
Yeah, it's always being redone.
It's
obviously.
always being redone, but there's a plan of what you're going to do. My plan, I didn't anticipate how much could be done with the people.
Right.
I didn't realize that much could be done that fast. So I think when you outline a plan day over day, it makes things just operate so much easier.
Right.
And I feel like so many people get up every day having no earthly idea what they're going to do,
None.
have no task list, have no nothing. And at the end of the day, they look back at their day and they didn't get anything completed.
Worst day ever when you go home and didn't get anything accomplished. That is, you might have relaxed all day, played on TikTok, done nothing, and work. Worst day ever, in my opinion. As opposed to the days that I'm miserable and working from bell to bell, go home and I feel satisfied. It's
Think about how
miserable
long.
at work, happy when I'm done.
I wouldn't even say you have to be miserable though.
No,
It's like
not
You're
necessarily.
busy.
that's a mindset of like
Sure. You're never
Not
never
miserable, exhausted. You're right. That wasn't a good. I was
Like-
exhausted. I'd say that's a better word for it.
I guess at the end of the day is if, I've been working there over 10 years. I've been doing 6 days a week, open to close for 10 years. I've went on one real vacation.
One
that
vacation.
The boys' dad forced me to go on. Actually worked with my wife against me and took care of it all, planned all of it.
Surprise.
Just like, guess what? You're going on vacation. And I'm like, day 2, I'm ready to come back. Right? So it's, everyone's always like, well, how can you work that much? How can you work? If you
You are
love
a
what you're
different
doing,
breed.
is it really work though? I mean, I don't look at it. Yes, it's a job. It's where you go. But I mean, if I love it.
I think there's also
You left your first home to go to your second home.
Right.
And then
No, he
at
left
the end
his
of the day,
second home to go to his first home.
and then you go back to your other home. So you have, when all of us were at the dealership, that was our home.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like,
But
that's
it's like
what we all,
this, right?
That's
But
what we
we're
class.
doing work. I mean,
Yeah.
we're making money. We're doing things we're supposed to do. But it's just like doing this. Like if you
Yeah.
got the right crew with you, it's not work.
And I will give you that and TDR that as a place that you're going to spend 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, and live there. We did such a good job at making it fun, making
Yeah,
it
you gotta have
enjoyable.
fun.
I
If
mean,
you're-
we play cornhole tournaments on the showroom when we're slow. We cook breakfast in the morning on a flat top. We've got grills out there, and we eat lunch. We go grocery shopping so we can. I mean, we made it work for
gotta have
us.
fun.
We used to have
that's-
breakfast on a flat
That's what
top
makes
here.
6 days a week, 12 hours a day go by real fast.
It does. It
And
does.
I think that's when you have that mindset of you don't have to do something, you have the opportunity to do something.
Exactly right.
Yep.
And I get up every single morning. I don't have to do anything when I get up.
Right.
I have the opportunity to make the best of every single day I get.
Right.
And I think when you have that mindset of doing something, that I told you the day I got out of college and I started full time at TDR, and I had worked there for a long time before that. I would never work at another dealership besides TDR.
Yeah.
I agree. I wouldn't either.
But it was something that I had that mindset. I didn't want to work somewhere else.
Right.
If I wasn't working at TDR at the dealership, I wasn't working at a dealership.
Right. Right.
And I've held
we
true to
talked
that.
about that.
And it
a
was
lot.
like,
yeah.
that was the only way that I was going to make that whole thing work.
Right.
But it was also like I had the opportunity to get up every day. I enjoyed the people I was around. And it's like I have brought that same mentality to what we do here.
Sure.
And it's like I am so thankful that I get up every morning and I have the opportunity to work with a group of my best friends now. And I have an opportunity to make a difference in the world. And I have an opportunity to do all these different things.
I will say that is the one thing that's hard for me now, right? Because we built such a strong relationship, the four of us, and Dalton wherever he went, we had such a good, strong relationship.
He's peeking around.
That's the one thing I do miss, right?
Yeah.
Like we used to talk, man, I can't believe it. We'll be at 75 out here in rocking chairs doing this thing,
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's so satisfying for me to see what you guys are doing. Like, because you guys have, when you decided to make that move, I'm like, all right. It was a really crazy time in the world. I mean, it was crazy.
Probably the craziest
It was
time
like, okay. So
Well, then
here we go.
I
You're
think
gonna
just us
send
three.
it, bud.
It was
Just
just
us
us three,
three
yeah.
sitting up at the dealership, and then I
By
stepped
ourselves,
up.
literally,
Yeah.
for a
Literally
month and a
for-
half
yeah,
when we let
yeah.
everybody go, right?
Yeah, and I'm like,
Dane
out
rolled
there.
out. We're watching him on Facebook. Like, that looks fun.
He's
like having a good
he's
time right now, but
outside.
But it was like I had a plan of what I wanted to do.
right,
But it's like I had a 5 and a 10-year plan that we've exceeded in 24 months.
right.
But it's like
Which, I mean, to tell you the truth, I knew that was going to happen with.
Yeah, how much
With their
bigger has your
drive?
task list gotten from your first month doing MMG to now? Your task list probably went from this to 4 pages, guaranteed.
in reality, the task list has actually gotten small.
You got a few more people under you. Yeah.
The task list has became a different task list.
Right.
What I do as a I am actually running a business now
Right.
where before I was not.
You were your own employee.
I worked for myself. I was what made everything happen, and that has become very.
It's a hard transition.
It's a hard transition, which
You had to make
It's-
that transition.
Yeah.
it's working of like trusting people, but I trust everyone that's around me.
Right.
And I mean, I'll tell anyone this all the time. Like every single person sitting in this room is what makes MMG go around.
Right.
Not me.
Exactly.
Like-
right.
I make sure like the bills are paid and things like that. And it's like, I
Send
work
checks,
And that's where
receive
we
checks.
and that's where we trust you. We trust
But-
that you're doing everything you need to do so we can do what we need to do.
But it's things that like when things happen in the company, things like that, that should never be on any of them.
Right.
That's my shoulders. That's why I get a hold. Like there's times like I've talked about that this before, but it's like there's times where there's a lot of money owed to Moss Marketing Group that it's like, hey, Dane's going to go figure out how to get the money and make sure everyone's paid.
Yep.
And nobody ever knew about it.
Right. There's a lot of
Yeah.
stuff that so like that transition, right,
Yeah.
where you were to do this, and that transition led into me having to do the same thing for TDR,
Yeah.
and it's a different, same thing, right? We're still going to hustle. We're still going to do what we do.
Yeah.
It's just a different task. It's a
Yeah.
it's a different thing we're looking.
It's a
at,
different
right?
hat you're putting
Yeah,
on.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
And
It's
that-
making sure now it all falls on our shoulders to make sure everyone else eats, to make sure everyone else's family is taken care of.
Yeah.
At first, you're
and
taking
not
care of your
just
kids
our
and your table.
family,
Now you're
right?
taking care of
Everyone's kids.
10 people's kids
Right.
and 10 people's
Yeah.
tables.
And you can't stop. I mean,
No.
It becomes
I'll
like,
go without before I'd let any of my people go.
Oh,
without.
100%. I know you
100%.
would.
Yeah.
that's something that like what most people don't know is since the day I've started, I've taken one check from Moss Marketing Group.
Right.
One. And it was not very much. I used it as a bookmark. And it was
go.
like that one check was paid to me, but it's like, luckily I have a significant other that was like, I had a lot of money put away, a lot of other things that all played into a factor.
You laid your bricks correctly so you could watch
Which that foundation was set properly for this all to work right. And I look back at, like, if I went back to do everything again, I'd do exactly the same.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't change a single thing that I've done. Every single thing
I probably wouldn't if I was you either.
But it's,
I mean, it's worked out awesome. You
Yeah.
know, it's like I said, it's really satisfying for me to see. I mean, when I started working with your dad, you were in high school, right?
yeah.
The good old boy, a little bit different. I mean, you're definitely in a little bit different shape.
Growing up
man.
a little bit.
But
Now I just have sleeves.
yeah, which you never wore back then,
Ever.
you know, and just you coming up doing the hard work then, right? A lot when you were still in school.
Yeah, it was just
Landscaping,
like-
building ramps.
And Dre was like,
I was porter.
yeah, I mean, like, it was, you're running around getting parts, and it's like, man, it's just so cool to see how it progressed over 10 years. And
But I think you have to
even
do those
even old
things.
Cody over here, back when he used to just hook us up with, you know, some
So-
Stables food
yeah,
back in
down
the
to the
day.
stables,
The
working in the
Southwest
kitchen, hooking
salads,
it.
when we got extra
all the
shrimp.
shrimp on
I
it.
think that's how I earned. Shh, they might see
Yeah,
this podcast.
Morgan,
brother.
if you're watching,
Yeah, he's
we're
going to come
sorry.
back and get me for them extra shrimps I gave you.
Morgan will bring you on, and we'll let
Yeah.
you.
That's not a
roast
bad
Cody.
idea either.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
sure.
it was just like,
Yeah.
I think you have to do all those things, though, to respect every level in a company.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of people don't experience those things.
Yeah.
And those jobs are the jobs I'm most thankful for
Exactly.
that I had.
Yeah.
I remember sitting out building that ramp in front of TDR
I
with
was
a
thinking
chainsaw.
about that
and like,
today, dude. I was like,
that thing was miserable. And
it was
Still
that was a
there.
long time ago.
I
It's
drive
still
by all
there.
the time. I still see it standing
I'm
out
more
there.
amazed than anybody.
Hey, that thing
No,
is
he-
never
Yeah,
going
it's never going anywhere. I was thinking about that today. It's like,
Dane, when he does
I don't
something,
even
he
know
doesn't
if
have
I have to
pass
get
it.
rid
I'll
of that.
give
We're
him
in
that.
trouble.
Yeah. You're going to need to bring like a dozer to knock it
Yeah,
down.
for sure.
So,
for
Dane,
sure.
I've known you 16, 17 years. You've impacted literally over half my life. I've worked for both of you, and it's been a blessing all the way around to work for, I mean, damn near family before I worked for you. Jamie's family now. It's been absolutely wonderful just to be able to experience all this and grow with you guys.
What did we
It's
do?
been
Just
amazing.
go hang out?
Huh?
When we worked
Yeah,
together?
what's-
Pretty much.
Me and
Chop
you,
liver.
you didn't really do much. Yeah, me and Dane were loading up your dirt bikes and mowing yards, and you were really good at Call of Duty for a while.
I'm good at training, Cody.
Weren't you ranked top?
Yeah, easy.
Hold
man.
on, weren't you ranked top 10 in the world in like?
Top 5.
Yeah, and
Top 5.
me and Dane were
Props.
probably top
Props.
5 yard
Dre's claim
mowers
to
in
fame.
Kearney.
Some people just don't understand.
Yeah.
But no, it's been a hell of a trip, and I just appreciate every bit of it. I mean, working for both sides of you guys and the way you guys run things, people don't understand. Like, it's a blessing to work for you guys.
So,
I appreciate that.
yeah,
It
thank
really
you.
is.
Yeah.
I mean, we had our good days and our bad days.
Oh, of course,
but you
we're
know
all
what?
going to.
By the end of the night, me and you are always sitting out there having a cigarette together and talking and getting it out. And
Yeah.
if
Working
I had
through it.
if I had a problem in my life, I'd almost call Jamie before my mom or dad. I mean, it was you get that close with people. You
Well,
work
that's
with
just
that
how
much.
family is. It's like,
Yeah.
we all had our days where it's good, and then we all had our days where they're
Oh,
bad.
sure. We love each other to death, and then we want to kill each other at the
Oh,
same
yeah.
time. It happens.
I remember Jamie and I almost fought each other once back in the detail department.
I was actually thinking about that today too. I was like, oh, what's some good stories I could give? It's like, oh yeah, it was. That was a good one.
Yeah, Jamie and I sat in the back, and we were in that detail department, and I was cleaning the vehicle I was delivering.
Yeah,
And we were about this close to going at blows.
yeah.
And what?
Jamie's a big boy. That's probably what
Dalton's
happened.
like, give the deets.
I'm pretty
give the
sure.
deets.
I'm pretty sure my dad walked out the back door, and Jamie and I had the garage doors open, and we were screaming full tilt
Yeah.
at each other.
That's exactly what happened.
And he walked out, and he was like, "You two, shut!" Blah, blah, blah. And started yelling, but he started yelling at us, and we ended up being like on the same side. We're
Yeah.
like, "Hey, you stop
Whatever.
yelling at us."
Now they're on a team against him. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
That seemed to happen more times than not.
Yeah.
You know?
So pretty much, if Dad ever got mad, it was the same thing when Dre and I grew up. Like we had our altercations.
Oh God.
But then if it came to like against
Those are
Dad,
not
then we were
being
back
brought
on the
up on
same
the
No,
side.
it was you guys were at World War III.
Those
until
are
Dad got
not being
home.
brought up on the podcast.
Yes,
This is business related.
We're gonna have to cut this line right here. We're gonna have to
Yeah,
like
that could go all week.
that'd be a 4-hour podcast. We're gonna have to cut line. right
Refocus, boys.
there. Yeah, refocus.
Yeah.
So, refocusing back onto what the M3 podcast is about: marketing and trends and everything that's happening right now.
Sure.
You're in the heart of it, day in
Yeah.
and day out.
Yeah, for sure. So it's a crazy time, right? So
Very.
inventory was so difficult to get, right? And so I finally had enough. And so I guess now it's going on 3-4 months ago. I'm like, I'm over this. I start knocking doors. I'm turning every rock I can. I'm finding me some vehicles, right? About 45 trucks in a week. All right, let's go. Gas goes up 50 cents. Gas goes up $1.
Yep.
Now we're at over $4. I'm like, oh,
All right.
I got a lot of trucks.
So again, it's just being ahead of the game, always being in there, watching trends, right? Watching what's going on. Okay, that's fine. We're still okay. We're still. If you need a truck, you need a truck. I'm sorry. At the end of the day, you're gonna buy a truck if you need a truck. But let's flip flop a little bit of stuff. Let's go get some cheaper cars. Let's get some gas savers. Let's get the smaller SUVs, and that in turn, we just been going up since we've changed that market, and it's just always. If you're not in it every day, you're always a year behind.
But that's also willing to adapt.
You have to adapt.
And a lot of individuals that want to hold. And, I mean, in a perfect world, that'd be great.
Sure.
But a lot of people don't know how dealerships work, and the whole game plan is not to be a museum, it's to turn units.
Yeah, exactly, right? We always say, they're for sale. It's not
Everything is for
you
sale.
can buy them, right?
But in that instance, you adapt, and it's like, hey, we will move more of these rather than this.
Right,
and then
this
you
time,
adapt, change inventory, and you can change inventory 100 times in a year,
Sure.
depending on what's selling.
Right.
And that's what I think a lot of, not even just auto, it's every industry.
Stubbornness will kill any business. I mean, if you're not willing to,
it takes down some
if
of the
you're not
best you've
willing-
ever seen.
oh,
Really,
if you're not willing
just
to
being
accept and adapt, I mean, just being stubborn will ruin $1 billion business instantly.
I noticed it when I went to the sale. Like Jamie and I bought cars together for
long time. Till you left.
yeah.
Right.
Every single week we were together. Every Thursday morning, ass crack of dawn.
Yep.
In coveralls out in the snow, rain, shine, whatever it was, looking at cars. And when you'd be at the sale and you'd see a whole bunch of stuff start going down, and everyone's like, "Look at what I bought! Like 20 of these today. They were cheap." I'm like,
There's a reason for that.
"There's a reason." And they're like
it's
these,
changing, right.
like these all were like way high and everything. I'm like, there's a reason. I'm like,
Somebody knows something.
I'm
you
like,
don't
guess
know.
what? I'm like, when you see all these big companies, and same thing of what we did marketing wise, like what we've done marketing wise since day one, is the coast push in.
Yeah.
The Midwest is always behind. So when you see all the coast numbers going up and pushing inwards, whatever it is, when you're watching these trends, and everyone goes and buys all this inventory that they think was a steal, that this one price of inventory,
Buried in
it watched the exact same thing happen with what's happening right now. Is guess what? That market under 20 grand hasn't fluctuated at all. If
Never
anything,
does.
it's went up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's went up tremendously.
I'm talking like last 6 months. Like it's went up a lot, and we've seen this we work with 30 plus dealerships now.
Right.
But it's like, then you see that middle truck area or like car, SUV, everything from that like 20 to 50 area kind of goes stagnant, which is like what everyone's trying to buy at the sale.
Right.
So you see this market go kind of stagnant.
It was always like the easiest to buy, right?
Easiest stuff to buy.
Yeah, that over 30
It's
grand
like-
truck and
Yeah, they're like, you know what? Like your big franchise stores, they're going to try to buy it, but they're not going to pay all the money for it. And then all of a sudden you saw this like top tier stuff like go
crazy.
crazy. And so like, you're playing on these two different realms, and then everyone's trying to play in here. And it's, once again, always looking at like, what's your market share costs?
Yep.
And it can go into marketing. It can go into real estate. It can go into automotives. Whatever space you're in, that same principle works.
Dane, it seems like you know something about like analytics and marketing and trends or something. It's
I don't
Kinda
know
uncanny.
anything, actually.
Don't ask him off the top of his head, because
No,
then
but
Ricky
it's-
has to get involved.
Yeah, I just have Ricky over there on the numbers just spouting out stuff. He's like over there like,
he's got an edge of
holding up
sketch
numbers,
and
yeah.
facts and
Shaking
but
his head
it's-
going, don't do it.
It's crazy when you watch how that all works.
Right.
That we were talking, Ricky and I today were driving. We were talking about owning a market share in a certain area on a company. And he goes, "Do you think it would cost this much?" I'm like, "Actually, it would cost a lot less." He goes, "What do you mean?" I go, "Do you know where they're at?" I go, "I will promise you, there's not a single person doing what we're doing within 50 miles of that area." And he goes,
Oh, yeah.
"I didn't even think of that." I'm like, "Now you own your market for a lot less."
Right.
I go, "When you want to take Kansas City on, say we're a marketing company of 100 other marketing companies or 99 other marketing companies.
You go to BFE where there's not a
we are
single
all spending
one.
the same amount of money. I'm competing for 1% of market.
Right.
Now all of a sudden I go to BFE where there's no one, spend the same amount of money. I can own 100% of market in that area.
Yeah.
They'd be thrilled that anybody knocked on their door, to be honest, which is
that's
probably
like,
why Dre drives 2.5, 3 hours daily.
hey, shut up. Don't be
I
telling
didn't-
everybody
I
our
didn't-
secrets.
I didn't say that he drives.
Yeah,
No,
for
but it's
sure.
just like,
I don't
I mean,
drive.
we've been doing that too, right? So everyone wants to
own,
leave
like-
all those areas, and we tackle those areas, right?
Yep.
We want to be known in those areas. We help those people as much as we can.
Same thing you do. I mean,
Right, we all
the
go
places
out those.
north of us that all the city doesn't go to,
Right.
that's where you get half your business. That's where you capitalize.
I mean,
but you can
that's-
own market share so easy there.
Yeah.
Well, it's not. When you say own market share, it's also, I think the respect and the gratitude you get in a lot of those areas is much more than you get in a lot more saturated markets.
Sure.
Because one is that they've never had the opportunity to, whether it be marketing, whether it be real estate, have the care that is given to a lot of people in a different area. Right. So when you take care of them, it's like, why
Your
don't people
presence
here
is
do that?
appreciated
It's like,
out there.
because they're not competing against anyone.
Yeah.
So then when you actually take care of an individual, no matter what it is, they're going, oh, so I can get treated good, whether I'm buying a house, whether I'm buying an auto,
Right.
whether we're doing their marketing. It's like, oh, people out there actually care. And then that other person that was doing it, that's like, hey, I'm the only person here. Like, you're either buying from me or not buying.
I mean, for my aspect is like, think about for where I'm at to Iowa, and then think about where I'm at to the south side of Liberty.
It's the same distance, damn near.
Well,
Oh,
now I'm saying is think about.
Do you know your distances, bro?
I thought he was going to go south Kansas City. I thought he was going
26.
south
Yeah,
Kansas
15,
City.
26.
or was it 6
Just started
miles?
exit
Like,
26.
We're going to get Cody a map on here, but it's fine.
You didn't
Yeah.
hire me for my navigation
What I
skills.
was
Geographical skills.
My name is not
trying
Tom
to get
Tom
at,
or
Cody,
Garmin.
was take that and you go all the way up to, let's say, the Iowa border, right? Let's go over, I don't know, probably like Kirksville area, right? And down,
Yeah.
right? Let's just take that big square. And you just look at how many dealerships are in that area. Not very many,
Yeah.
right? And from us, and you just go 10 miles south of us, how many dealerships are there?
Can't count.
Tons, right? No one helps those people out there, and that's why we kind of pushed to that area to help
Yeah.
get them a quality vehicle and stuff like that. So
That's the other thing that I feel like a lot of businesses are crazy piss poor at knowing their audience.
yeah,
That is like one of the biggest things that when I speak to people and I talk to business owners, I'm like, who is that prime audience? And they're like, what are you talking about?
yeah, right.
I run into that all the time. I'm like, what do you
No
mean?
idea who they're pushing to.
I'm like, give me the last 1,000 customers you have. And I'll tell you who your audience is really fast.
Sure.
If it's a dealership, tell me the last 1,000 cars you sold
Yeah,
and give me a printout of everything.
yeah,
If I go to whatever it is, a restaurant, whatever, any business that works the same, you have an audience.
right.
And if it's like we have a restaurant that is very, very, very well known all across Kansas City, their audience tends to be 50 plus years of age. And it's like we know exactly who we're going after.
Right.
But before we're even going to put out an ad, I'm going to know who that audience is.
Right. Who are you gonna? Yeah, exactly. Who are you gonna
But
go
it's
after?
like-
Right.
I will
I
say,
learned that.
today was the first day I ever spoke with an individual. Like, me, myself, I'm like asking about target audience. Like, our target audience is 40 to 55. I was like,
You actually know.
you are one step ahead
Were they
of.
was that actually their targeted market? Was
Yes,
it?
yes, that is their prime demographic of everything. And I was like,
That's awesome.
yeah, I'm like,
There's
Great.
age. There's age that goes into that. But it can get more and more detailed. Like
I will say you guys have done very good at that, working for both of you. Up at TDR, they don't wear slacks. They don't wear dress shoes. They wear jeans
Thank
and boots.
God.
Or
It took
down.
me 2 years to get that out of there.
Hey, thank you for that.
Yeah,
I'm
for
glad
real.
I didn't. But anyways, that's their audience up there. People that are down to earth. They don't want to go to the city and deal with a city slicker car salesman that's trying to pull a fast one. They go up there and they feel comfortable. Same with you going out and selling. I mean, half the time you're wearing jeans and boots and comfortable, and you look down to earth. You drink Busch Lights, and that's the kind of people
They want to deal with.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
no, but yeah, that just goes right back into, I mean, if you're going into a funeral home, that you're gonna look
You're gonna have a
completely
different-
different if
yep.
you're going into a BMW dealership. But that's just not more so for the looks, but it's mimicking
Personality,
everything you've
yeah.
ever been taught in sales. It's like,
they try to teach you to be a chameleon, right?
yeah,
Right. You're trying to
Which
make
is not
that
a negative
person
thing.
you're talking to
It's not a
comfortable.
negative thing.
Yeah.
No, you want to make them comfortable.
Which
Yeah.
in marketing, understanding that audience, I'll tell every business owner out there, if you can do one thing tomorrow when you get up and you go into work, go identify who your target audience is.
Right.
Identify who that is and stop trying to market to everyone.
Look at who's paying your
And-
bills.
But everyone is so like, I remember having a conversation when I was at TDR about that we need to have all these fusions and escapes and things like that.
Yep.
And when you looked at the trends over X amount of time,
Right.
we had lost money, not on old body fusions, but on new body fusions. We lost money on them.
Right. Price points.
Price point
Right.
wasn't right. And
Yeah, we know what we know where our
Trial
our
and
people
error
are.
sometimes.
But if you looked at a, well, I was up there, say a 2017 Fusion, and we got onto Viato, which anybody watching that doesn't Viato is a system that you can look at like clean trade,
Inventory
you can look
management.
At, you can look at MMR, like what they're
Everything.
going for at auction, what market looks like, and you can price them against everyone in market.
Right.
So now all of a sudden you look at market, and we got 50 miles. There's 500 of them that you're competing against.
Right.
every dealership
And-
along that way from Kearney to Liberty has a Fusion.
Yeah, so it's like
Or
not 10.
12.
when you look at that, so when that person comes in, that car is a very hard car to make money. And
Yes.
most of the time, if you had that car, it was very much under factory warranty, so it made it to where we didn't see that car for a very long time.
No.
They ended up at a Ford store, then we ended up losing that service customer also.
Right.
But it's then you looked at this lifted truck that we did, that we made money on, that it was a lot easier when somebody came in, they're like, well, of course, any used car, anybody that goes into a used car dealership, I'm going to hit them at $4,000 under what they have it for. They hit it, it's like, what are you comparing this against?
Yeah. A stock one.
Like,
Go find another
we were
truck
always
with a
compar-
brand new lift, brand new wheels, done
Yeah,
up
and
this
we-
clean,
And we
with a
always
warranty
were
like
in-
this.
We were always competitive
yes.
with a stock truck. Right.
Which
and it
that
was
was
kind
the
of our thing. Right.
That was the crazy thing with what was done was when someone would pull up a vehicle. That was like my only really clothes that I used on like
I
any
know where you're
lifted
going
truck.
with this one. Yep.
Which it's like when they would, I'm like, you know what? I'm totally okay with negotiating with you on this truck.
Right.
I would just love for you to pull up anything that I'm competing against.
Somewhat close, even kind of close.
Yeah.
I know your Lariat with wheels and tires looks the same as this Ford F-150 XL. It's a Ford.
It's a Ford.
Yeah.
But most of the time, like,
They're the same.
how
year.
often do you walk out that someone pulls up something that just blows you out of the water?
Never.
Yeah. So that was
Not
just
blows us. Yeah. And if they do, there's a reason.
yeah. But that was just something that makes a difference. Knowing your clientele, knowing that stuff. Like
Right.
we knew the people that were coming in. Like
Yeah.
I enjoyed working with people that came in jeans, cowboy boots with a camo hoodie that was or 800 credit score, and if we needed 15 grand down from it, it was fine. Like
Yeah.
and they knew exactly what they were looking for. But it's like that's the kind of buyer. Like I want to be like that's the kind of buyer I am. Like if I go in, I know exactly like oh, credit's not a problem, like money's not a problem, like whatever it is, I know what I'm looking for.
Sure.
But we knew that audience of what we were going after,
Right.
and I feel like that if business owners took kind of a step back and looked at that and understood that,
Targeted better. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you can go so much farther with your money,
Yeah.
understanding what you're doing, because a lot of times they're so scared to narrow down. Like people are scared. They're like, what if I miss this one person?
Yeah. What if you pick up 15 though?
Well,
But
or you're missing that one person, like we were just saying, 17 Fusion, right? What if we missed that one because we didn't have that 17 Fusion? Okay.
What
Yeah.
if I had 3?
There's
trucks
100 of
instead
them
a
around
week?
you,
Yeah.
right?
But think about like
But how many 2012s are there?
we have a company
Yeah,
that
right.
targets mainly towards women. So I have that company, and they were running ads towards women and men. And I'm like, what percentage of your market is women? Check 95% plus.
Yeah.
Why
So
are you
you're
wasting
wasting-
your time? Yep.
Half of your money
Right.
all the time.
All the time.
Like serving ads to men, things like that, you're just wasting it. And now what percentage of these people are in these areas? We really get set with like zip codes, everything like that. We really start targeting in where we need to go with things. Right. We figure that out, and then it's like they're wasting that much more money. And then all of a sudden we figured out, we're like, you can actually save money working with us. We can hit more of your target clients with better content, everything, and actually make it work better because we're so targeted in on what people are looking for.
Right. Serving the people what they want.
Yeah.
You know, so that's another thing. Like, I remember the first time we went out and filmed a truck. You know, we're out at Jesse James Park, and we're like, you sure you know how to fly this thing?
No idea what you're doing.
I got it. I already crashed one of them on the show.
And not knowing what we're doing, essentially. You know, had an idea, but let's try something.
There's a vision.
Right. Let's try something. And Dane's like, was really good at selling his dad on some things. And
Dane's got all these great ideas, and unfortunately, over half the time they work out pretty well.
We're on M3 podcast right now. It worked, right?
We made it somewhere.
And we had no idea where we're going to put it. They were going to put it on Facebook, and we're going to hope to see what happens, right? Yeah. And then how long did it take? A month, 2 months? Everyone's like, man, I just seen your new video. That thing is so sweet. And it was like, holy crap.
It was the lifted black Yukon that we put the decals all down. That was the first time. I crashed the first drone in the showroom, destroyed it, had to buy another one. And
solid.
It was just like one of those things that I've had a vision for like what the marketing space should be around here.
Sure.
And I feel like so many people lack on it. I feel like so many people like undercredit it for what it is.
Right.
But we put it to paper and we made it work.
I think a lot of what you guys have done is just having down-to-earth, good people around you. I really think that's it. Well, it's just like today, we went to eat lunch, and you just have people that are just, you can't stand workers. You know what I mean? People that aren't good with people. And you guys have done a very good job of surrounding yourself with that, and that's why you've been so successful. I really think.
That definitely helps, for sure. That's how you can grow, obviously, right? If you don't have that support staff around you, then you can't grow. Because you can only do so much by yourself.
But I'm just saying, from like a customer point of view, when I come to TDR, I mean, it's down-to-earth people that are real, that pay their bills, that don't think they're too good for you. They're not your typical used car salespeople.
You also have to have a like vision within it all.
Right.
Like, and I always had like a vision.
Well, we used to sit, we'd walk, we did, like, me and Dane would sit there and just look at everyone's stuff. What is that place called? Name of the dealership don't really matter, but down in Texas, right?
Yep. It's Louisville Autoplex.
Yeah,
they have Louisville Customs. Like I watch all their stuff every single day.
Still addicted, right? Yeah. And
it doesn't stop.
And we both look at this place. We're like, it's a Mitsubishi store.
Yeah, it is.
What in the world?
But it was
the coolest trucks in the world, and we're like, well, we can be them at Kansas City.
Yep.
But it's like I've always been somebody that like I will set that vision so far beyond most people's belief.
Right.
And I've never had a problem getting to them.
Right.
Like I've never struggled ever getting to that vision that I set for myself. But the first time that anybody ever like cuts out that vision and like they're in the way of that vision, I'm out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it was just like the second that vision was taken away from me, it was like I'm on to the next deal, and it was just like
sure.
But you have to be able to have that vision of what you want to go do. But they also say that like 3% of humans on the planet are visionaries. And they're saying that they say that like 3% of the population hires 97% of the population.
Makes sense.
I mean, which I think they call it the 1%, but whatever. Yeah.
But it's like when you look at that like 3% of the visionary, like a lot of times it's not so much of like how I know how to do something or anything like that. It's just I just have a semi, like I have a direction of like I know where I want to go.
Right. And the dedication to get there is a big thing.
And Ricky always, like, he is phenomenal at what he does, like video wise and everything like that. But when we go like meet with people, I have this vision of what I want. I have this video already in my head. Right. And I'm like trying to tell him, he's like looking at me.
I just see Ricky standing behind you like, how the hell am I going to do this?
He's looking at me like, I'm fucking crazy.
I saw that today, actually. First time I got filming with you guys, like Dane's like, oh, let's do this and let's do that. And I'm seeing Ricky holding 9 cameras like,
no, Ricky will look
at
Dane.
He's like,
he's like, yeah, we'll get it done.
Yep.
And then he's like, I also have a vision. And then he puts it out. He's like, your thoughts? Dane's like, I didn't even think about that. That's a great video.
I'm like,
he's like,
that's more than what I thought. Right. But it's just something that, like, I don't know. I think that's something that's important when you have that, like, I think that
it goes back to foundation.
To the task, that comes back to all of it.
Goes back to having a good foundation.
You just have to have somewhere that you're willing to go.
Right. 100%. And you have to, again, right, task plan. We just got, as long as you can see it and you're heading down that right, once in a while you're going to make a left, you're going to make a right, but you keep going.
Yeah. That vision's going to change and it'll turn. And
as long as you're out working everyone in the room,
you're fine.
That path just keeps going forward.
Yep.
Like, I think about there's things that, like, we've messed up. There's companies we've worked with that I know we haven't put out the best that we should have.
You live and learn.
But it's something that, like, I'm hoping that we're in a position in
3 months.
I was going to say, like, 2 to 3 years where I want to go walk into every single person that I ever failed with what I did and say, hey, you know what? I got you covered for the next 6 months. I owe you that. Like, because I didn't have...
Be able to afford an opportunity.
Yeah, because I didn't have what I should have produced at that time.
I had my growing pains because of you, and look where I'm at now. Let me return it to you.
But it's something that will happen at some point, that I'll put aside everything that is mine to make up for all of those.
Yeah.
I won't even say they're wrong. It's just like it doesn't
they're growing pains.
It doesn't hold to my standard of what I've
you've gotten to, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying it didn't produce. It's just like there was a set area.
It doesn't hold to the standard
achieve
of what we have now.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Go look at the very first video we did compared to now.
Oh, we
right?
did that the other day. Dane was looking at it. He's like, what the hell did I do?
You can actually
was like,
find
wow, I
it on
can't believe I
YouTube.
We used to hold a drone.
Yeah.
And you know what?
That was our still camera.
You know what?
Stabilizer.
We thought it was a great video back then. We were
Yeah.
like, oh, this is so cool. 5 years later,
Yeah.
Dane's like, what was I thinking?
Hey,
Yeah.
you know what? You gotta start somewhere.
Yeah. That's
And look at that.
exactly.
If there's a kid out there right now, he's sitting there holding a drone. He's like,
I
"You're
can
telling
do
me
it.
one day
I can make this into a career.
I can actually fly
Yeah.
this thing?
Yeah.
Which I hope anyone out there that does anything that they enjoy doing thinks of a way that they can make a career of it. Like,
Yeah.
if there's a will, there's a way."
Today we were out filming trucks, and we're filming trucks for Crosby. And I talked to Todd and everybody up there today, and we're out filming today. I'm like, how is this like a job?
No, it was when we pulled into the car wash. You had a little bit of nostalgia. You were like, dude, this takes me back to like my first videos at TDR, pulling them out of TDR into the same bays at the car wash, wiping them down by hand to make them look good, to go out to the same field that we did 5 years ago and make a video 20 times better.
You're
than
saying
what
if
you
the
used to
first
do.
video is plugged, it may be in the same field?
There was a video that was once done there on a
Sweet.
fishing
Yep,
pond.
yep.
But it was like, it was just that OCD that kicked in. Like when we were driving to
He
Kearney,
texted us, yep.
and they have two of these brand new Black Widow trucks. I mean, are $100,000 trucks.
Barely dusty, but not good enough.
Three trucks rolling down the road over 300 grand.
Yeah, and
was
I'm
like,
looking at
"Oh."
I'm looking at these two trucks, and I'm like, not putting my name on a video with those trucks like that. And I text both of them. I'm like, hey, we're going to the car wash first. We spray these trucks down, we clean them, we tire shine, we do everything.
Dane, literally
It's just
30 seconds before you texted that, I'm driving the truck and I'm looking at the hood and I'm like, that's kind of dusty. I can't believe Dane's going to go video these. And then when I get a text from Dane, we're going to the car wash. I'm like, all right, life makes sense now.
I think that's just when hold yourself to the highest standard possible all the time.
Right.
And that's the difference of when people are watching or not.
Yeah.
Would Gentry have known if we went and watched them or not?
Nope.
Their aftermarket guy, Nick, he texted me. He's like, hey, man. He's like, I grabbed one of the sales guys' tags. He's like, are you going to be back soon? I'm like, I've been in the car wash for 45 minutes actually cleaning these trucks. Like, it was just, that's the standard. That's the level you have to hold.
If you're going to do it right. Don't
And
half-ass it and bury yourself
that
in some
comes-
BS.
Well,
All
that's
the way
that's
full
everything
circle.
we learned back in the dealership. It's like customers coming in, wash the car, take care of it, make
Put
sure
some
it's
fuel in
clean,
it.
Pull it
put
up,
fuel,
have it
everything.
ready.
So when they come in, that is your special.
It's their
that's your special
day, right?
time.
Yeah. We're going to treat it's almost like it's your birthday every time you go and do it, right? Because
Yeah,
everyone loves buying a car when everything's done, right? They're happy. You got a new car, you got a
new,
whip, you go
used,
show
it,
your bud.
whether
what-
you're looking at a
new to
5,000,
them.
100,000, it's
It's
something
new to
where
them.
It's new
Exactly.
to them.
yes,
It is the best
and
day
they want to
they've
show it
had
off
all
and-
year.
So make sure you're exactly like I said, you're putting your best foot forward.
Yeah.
You know, don't if it's dirty, take the extra time to go clean it.
Yeah.
You know what's that going to hurt?
what's that?
Even if they said no, at least the car's clean on the lot.
If
you
you're
know?
not going to do it right, let a salesperson that's ready to do it right do it right.
Yeah.
At least have that mind
Mentality.
to step back. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Exactly. I mean, if you're not going to like you just said, if you're not going to put your best foot forward, don't put a foot forward.
Yep.
Let someone do it for you.
If you could go back, this is something I ask every person that comes on here. If you could go back to younger Jamie.
Back in Minnesota.
Oh, God, I don't even want to meet that Jamie.
That's if you want to go back to the 21-year-old Jamie.
Oh,
What would you tell
back in
him?
Minnesota.
What would you tell him on? Would you tell him to do anything different than what you've done?
You know, it's funny you asked me that. So, what we kind of didn't get into, kind of like we always have been, we sidetrack, squirrel kind of stuff, right? So, coming from the roofing business and getting out of it, I took a few months off. I wanted to spend some time with my daughter.
Respectful.
Make sure she knew who her dad was, obviously, first. But I never wanted to be in the car business. I was very much like Dane and everyone else where I love cars. I had a bunch of cars. I was like, ooh, that's shiny. I better go buy that, right? And so I never really wanted to be into it. So I took a few months off. And crazy enough, I seen TDR on Craigslist. That was still
Craigslist.
That's
that was
how
still
you
a
found
thing
them?
back then, just so you know. It was still a thing.
I've never even heard this story.
Yeah, and so I go up, I interview, and get hired during an interview. Went back and forth. I had quite a few job offers when I decided I wanted to go talk to these guys. The weird thing is I remember TDR. They had just opened like maybe 2-3 days ago, and I had been at Hunt's for up there, and I'm like, what is this place?
You probably saw me out there.
Probably.
Probably saw me out in the cherry picker taking all the signs down.
Probably. There's like 4 cars in the lot at the time. And I'm like, what is this place, right? Fast forward a couple months. I see him on Craigslist, and I go talk to him, right? So I talk to everybody up there. And to get what you're saying is my cousin, he's like, well, what do you think about being a used car salesman? And I said, man, I wish I had done this when I was 18. I'd have 10 of these things by now.
Yeah, you probably would with your mindset and your get the gab.
I love cars, right? So that makes it easy. Hardest thing I had when I was first in it was not buying every car I wanted when I was there. I was like, oh, I want this one. I want
That's still
this one.
your biggest problem.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
True. But it just, when you find some, I mean, I messed up by not getting in sales when I was 18, right? Because that was kind of my calling. I should have been doing that anyway from day one.
It's that damn college got you, bub.
Well, that's a whole nother story I would talk about, but we won't get into that.
2-hour podcast.
Yeah, that's a whole other story you don't want to hear about. Most people don't want to. But anyway, so, yeah, I mean, I wish I would have started when I was 18, right? And would have gotten this business then. And I love it, right? So, I mean, kind of we'll backtrack for a little bit. Craziness that happens in 2020. I didn't know what was going to happen. That January, I'm like, this is going to, February, this is weird. I didn't know if the car business is where we were going to be in 2 months, right? Some of us aren't in the car business anymore because of it, right? And so, I mean, I got my mortgage license. Thought maybe that's something I should do just to, kind of all of us did
Just
for a second,
case.
right? We didn't know what was going on, but I just couldn't leave. I couldn't. It's me, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It's all of us. It always will be a part of all of us. But it's just I couldn't leave to go do something else, knowing we're still going, right? Because there's too many people there. I'm going to make sure that they're taken care of. And so, I'm glad. Obviously, I didn't, and it's a new chapter of my life and TDR's life. But I mean, I would have started when I was 18 and see where the heck we are now, right? But
Yeah.
I get it.
That's I definitely, I think a lot of times people, when you ask them what they would have done earlier on in life, a lot of times it's getting into whatever their profession is now.
right.
But I think a lot of times those things that you did leading up to where you are now is what would have gotten you to where you are now.
Right, exactly.
So like, if I went back to my 18-year-old self, I would tell myself to do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I've had the success in the marketing space because my heavy background in the automotive space.
Sure.
Like, it
I'll
has
tell
made
you,
it where, like,
I wish I wasn't making your shrimp salads and I was working with you guys back then. That's for sure. I'd
that's
go back
pretty
and
much
do
probably
that.
what made the world go round.
We would all disagree.
Yeah, I know you would. I know you would.
Sure.
But it's just
No, I
like,
agree with you though, right?
Yeah.
It's like, what would you change? And I will stand to the, I wish I would have.
you met somebody in that roofing, in that insurance space
Yeah,
that taught you what to do correctly.
exactly.
And there's somebody somewhere along that line that made it all right.
Right.
And it's like you run into those people along
Sure. Yeah.
that timeline works in a weird way.
Well,
that-
it's funny you say that, right? So, obviously, I'll give it to my parents for the upbringing I had and how hard work, watching my mom. And, my mom and my dad, they divorced, and I watched my mom put herself through college and work her way into a CFO position and do that for a long time, right? I watched my dad when they were young and I watched him build himself up in business and whatnot. So you get that work ethic. Same with my grandparent, everyone, right? So you see it, right? And you guys know what I'm talking about. You went through the same
100%.
stuff.
We
right?
know very well.
So that helps a lot, right?
Yeah.
And so then the next thing is I bought a lot of cars before I got in the car business. And I said when I get in this business, I'm going to treat every single person the way I wanted to be treated when I was buying a car. Yep.
Yeah.
And I got lucky on a bunch of sales guys I ran into that I bought a lot of cars from because I built a relationship with them, right? And that was my goal when I start this, is that I'm going to do the same thing.
Oh, really? Right at the end of the podcast?
Yeah.
We get a
towards
bush?
right towards the end.
Bush.
I've been popping these the entire time. Not one
I
did I
got
get
two
a
on
bush.
one.
I think you only drank like one, but that's
Yeah,
neither here nor
those
there.
are full.
Yeah,
I don't
But
know
yeah,
how
for
those
real
drink
though, it's
those.
just like, is treat the people like you want to be treated. It goes a long way.
I think if anyone could take anything out of this podcast, treat people the way you want to be treated.
Exactly.
Be down
And
to earth. Be
I think
normal.
if you could just take that out of it, I think your life will be a much happier life.
Much
100%.
happier, much easier, right? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
I
boys,
mean,
we're
that's
going to wrap it
anything
up.
in life, though. I mean, really, I mean, you're going to the restaurant. If you want good service from treat them like you want to be treated.
Yeah.
Same. It's just everywhere you're at. So, and then, like I said, if you love what you're doing, then it makes everything a lot easier. So,
Yeah.
That's very true.
That's always true. I'll tell anyone watching, do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Life is short. Enjoy what you're doing. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Marketing wise, know your audience. I mean, we can go on and on with all that
Just
stuff.
be in
but
tune.
Yeah, and this is the first M3 podcast that had a piss break, so that's a first.
thank you.
A group piss break.
You know what? Sometimes
But,
changes for the better.
Yeah,
Sometimes change.
Dre's
for the
very
I-
happy
I-
with the new change.
So I'm not going to lie. I assumed with all the technology and how good you guys are at what you do, that you guys edit. So I would assume that'd be okay.
Who told you that we were all this good at what we do?
No,
No one. I just assumed because I watch them.
Jamie, fake it till you make it. You know that
Yeah,
better than
this-
anybody,
Hey,
Bob.
we're not going to talk
This
about
is,
that.
this is a total like Ricky deal. So Ricky's the man of the hour.
Hey, Ricky, we're
you gotta
sorry about
tell
our
him.
piss break. We hope you can
Yeah, I
make
know.
it look well.
Yeah, but if anyone's looking to purchase a car, anything like that from Jamie, we're going to tag TDR all below.
Hell yeah.
Contact Jamie, J Tuff,
Jay
J
Tizzle.
Money, J
You can
Tizzle.
find him on
What-
YouTube.
What? Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
These ain't 22s.
The
These
chopper.
deuce quattros.
If you ever want to look
AKA.
at the double deuces
Yeah.
on YouTube, you can find him there too. The
Oh,
chopper is
man.
like world famous.
Oh, we need to bring
Big,
that back.
really big in Japan,
Smaller and
but
darker hair.
Really
back
big
there.
in Japan.
yeah, go check him out. But I'm going to say this is the M3 podcast. M3 podcast. Great having you here,
Appreciate it, guys.
and
And I really do love y'all, man. I really
love
do.
you
Thank
too.
for
I
having
know
us.
there's going to be more of these podcasts to come.
I hope
So this is going to be my only thing I do here. But this is Key Ricky.
Thanks for listening to the M3 Podcast. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Want to learn more? Check us out on Instagram at Moss Marketing Group, on Facebook at Moss Marketing 58, or on our website at mossmarketinggroup.com.